128. I gained 4 pounds in 4 months. And that's nothing. That was a time. And I spent hours and hours in the gym. That up till then, I'd gone up. I was going 4 days a week, spending an hour there. And on Saturdays and Sundays, I would do the elliptical for 30 minutes, then lift. And then here's another thing. Back then, I used to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to walk downstairs back and forth to get exercise. And then there was some days where I missed the wake up, and I was like annoyed because I'm like, oh, now I have to eat less. It was a bad start. As Dumbledore, or not Dumbledore, what's his name? Scrounger from Harry Potter. These are dark times. So then I took a different approach, starting in about June or July, I think, in the start of tennis camp. This year, of course, no, this year. I started thinking, well, I was a bit annoyed at that, so I started thinking, I kept eating the foods I was eating, and I started substituting more unhealthy foods into my diet to get enough. At this time, I also stopped tracking calories. I just started eating till I was full, drinking more milk, trying to find a good balance of hunger. I also got in a routine. Now, what I used to do back in the gym, I used to hop on those machine things and go like, 5 reps, done. I just hop to another machine. And I didn't really track progress. I don't think I gained much to any strength at all in the first 5-6 months I was doing it. So I got in a program like these. I started increasing how much I was doing. And that's actually when I started to actually gain more strength and get stronger. And it works a bit more. So that's me with a deer. I've since then, I think that was when I was in Japan at 145, 148, something around there. I'm much happier now because I don't feel like I have to be so cautious about what I eat and how much, because using a food scale and like thinking about that every day, it's not good. Like my parents can say this, I never ate any of their food for how many months?
7 months.
7, 8 months. Didn't touch any of their food. I'd go to restaurants rarely. And if I went out to restaurants, I would undereat so much because I was scared. Oh, they're putting extra oil, this type of stuff. And now I know a good diet and a way to be happy is you can eat bad foods, you can eat unhealthy foods. You can also eat healthy. Thanks, Mom. You can eat whatever food you want, but you have to. It's all about balance, moderation, eating other foods, and tracking calories. I feel it works for many people. There are tons of subreddits on Reddit, like the ones that I used back then were like our Lose It, and then there was also our 1200 is plenty. That was like for food choices. Like there are tons of people who count, but I feel for me that method just made me too obsessive, and I worried too much about everything. So I feel like now just letting it go, eat what you want. If you're trying to gain, eat till you're full. If you're not, eat a bit less. I just feel it's a better method. Happier. And those are some other pictures of me. This is me because my dad was doing something stupid, like normal. And
actually, it was me.
Oh, it was you? You took that picture?
Yeah, and I said that I don't have a single picture of you smiling, so you decided to smile.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. The only time I smiled on the Japan trip was that time, and the last day I had 4 smiling pictures. And then this is me with a sumo wrestler. I was trying to look like the sumo wrestler. Yeah. So, that's it. Any questions?
Can you show us your sort of muscles or what you have done so far?
Yeah.
I mean, not just what is
this? Thanks, Mom, for that request.
But you showed me in the morning. Show your
I'm a bit more conscious, but
show your muscles.
Okay. So that's my bicep. Right there. And that's my tricep right there. But my favorite one is my quadricep right here. I have a running joke with my friend, because my friend Andy, because he has a very seldom muscle. So we have a joke. So I ask him, which one's your quadricep, and he points to a random part in his body and flexes it. It's funny. So that's that. Yeah.
I have a few comments to make, Anish.
Sure.
Given that
Why
I
don't
have
you come here?
Come to the stage.
Come to the podium. No, you're in the video.
you want to pull me in?
Why not?
I'm not the presenter today.
Yeah, that's.
So, Anish, first of all, thank you for your amazing story.
Thank you.
And incredible. I mean, sharing is also important, but before that, you actually did it.
Yeah.
An awesome job. I mean, mind blowing. A big mind. I really understand this because I used to be 220 pounds. I'm about 170 right now. I want to get to 150 and follow this man. He is my idol. Believe me, guys. This man is my idol. I'm following him.
I just also want to add a comment. This is just like an inside scoop, right? Like my daughter's in the same high school. You would not believe. I don't know who his friends were who were jokingly teasing him earlier.
Yeah.
But the same set of friends. You were the talk of high school, junior high last year. My daughter was extremely shy. She was saying, you should see Anish, Amma. She was like motivated just seeing Anish walking around in school, and so were a whole bunch of kids, because they noticed that Anish had lost a lot of weight, and he was doing it. They knew that he was doing it in a good sustained way, like playing tennis and managing it not just by nutrition but in a wholesome way. So, yeah.
So taking cue from what you said, I think it's absolutely incredible that we have people in our society, people who we know. I mean, I have known him for such a long time, and I was totally blown away. One fine morning, I find him along with my daughter. We find him standing in the parking lot, and I failed to recognize him. And he's saying hello to me. I said, "Do I know you?" And he said, "I'm Anish." So, couple of things very important, Anish, is one is that we need people like him who are doing this in our community. Second is, for example, today when it's how important it is that people like him share their stories, because, for example, when I'm trying to go on my journey, my life transformation, a couple of things he said today in his presentation, suddenly I have picked up those tricks. I said, oh boy, I think I need that scale. I still don't have the food scale. So I do have a few bag of tricks in my repertoire, but I can still learn a whole lot from someone like him. So thanks to Wholistic Health Alliance for making this effort.
Thank you.
And keep doing this, Anish. You are a role model for everybody. And man, believe me, I'm serious. You're a big inspiration for me personally. So I'm going to be following you, okay?
Got it.
So thank you so much.
Okay.
I have an Instagram that I never post on.
And one last point. Sorry, I forgot one critical point. I personally feel that we as people should, I'm so happy that Youth Brigade is an initiative. I think we need more and more such things, because I have now begun, because there was a time when I was a kid and none of these tools were known to me. This whole thinking process, this whole ethos of health approach was never known to me as a child. And I think that today we as people, we as human beings should bring that into our school system, into our education system, and people when they are young people like yourself, young lady, young man there, I think all of us need to learn from these things that how crucial a healthy approach is, in our lives. Because then hopefully when you are my age, I'm 52, you would have that bag of tricks in your pocket, and you have the courage that whenever you want, you can pick your bag and you can embark yourself on that journey.
Question
Sure.
for you, Anish.
Can I just say one thing? I just want to sort of not moderate, but I just want to request. First of all, congratulations on the wonderful presentation. I think you have really set the pace now for the next workshops. I think the first one was by Lena. It was cooking, and cooking is always very popular, but I think we want to see stories like this, and we want to see other activities. If anybody is doing, let's say, yoga, meditation, any of the youth, we want to show that, we want to engage their peers in that activity led by their own peer. So I think I just want to say a couple lines that the Youth Brigade idea is to really engage the youth and put them in the leadership position. Because when I was doing my Masters in Public Health, I worked with South Boston youth. And at the end of that, when we were doing the assessment, we actually learned that the youth who were with our program actually ended up changing the behavior of their siblings and their parents. And everybody was behaving differently with their grocery cart and their grocery choices after our program. So, you know, I've had this idea, Wholistic Health Alliance is about 2 years old now, and I've had this idea of Youth Brigade for a long time, and I'm very, very thankful to the stars and gods and whatever that I've been able to launch this finally, and I think all of you will make it a success. It's not me, and the idea has been launched. So I really commend Anish for coming forward, and I, through the live video, I want to give a call out to our community to really come forward and allow the youth to engage, because what we will learn in this non-academic stress-free environment from one another is something we cannot replicate for them. So the power of that is completely different. So a call out to all the youth and their parents, please come forward. This is all
And a big
free.
thanks to Meena for opening her house.
Yes, and this is of course
And Sundar, both
you know,
Meena and Sundar.
A completely volunteer-based and non-profit organization. So please do come forward. So with that, I just want to request. I want the parents also to say a few words. So everybody, please come forward, and ultimately, of course, want to hear Meena and Sundar, Sundar also, because I think as parents later on, but maybe we can have all the participants come over.
We'll have maybe Shri Krishna ask his question.
Yeah.
So
All in fact.
if anyone else has a question, let's finish the questions.
Questions and comments, whatever. But please come here and share.
Okay, I'm willing to take the questions.
Really good listening to you, especially how you worked, over a long period of time to achieve what you wanted to do. I'd like to understand how you can help other kids and motivate them.
Okay, so first off, what I think is, and I forgot to mention this in the post, to help other kids, just give what they should do.
Sure.
Like if you're overweight and you're trying to lose weight, I think you should take a simpler approach. I don't think you should go as the start of my approach was better, reducing portion sizes, adding in a bit of exercise. I think you should avoid going to the extreme on things, because that never works well. Both spectrums, gaining or losing, it doesn't work out. And I think one big thing that someone should do when they're trying to lose weight is start and this all depends on what your goal is, your end goal. I think for any goal, if you're trying to lose weight, you should start weightlifting while losing weight, because I feel that's something I didn't do, and I could have saved myself months of effort by doing it then instead of cardio. Because cardio is good, and aerobic exercises, they're good for the heart, they're good. But I think in the total essence of the superficial, looking good, I think weightlifting trumps it all.
Thank you.
Yep.
And also another thing about weightlifting. Okay.
Everybody come.
Yeah. Well, another thing about that idea of cardio versus muscle building is also if you work on activities which focus on building your muscle, that repairs your body, and if you have really good muscle strength, that's actually going to be better for your body in the long run, even for cardio and losing weight. So yeah, I had another question actually. You mentioned Reddit a lot,
right,
and a lot of resources you found. So I wasn't sure if everyone knows what Reddit is, but do you want to explain
Sure.
what that is?
Okay, so I can show a picture, not a picture. This is
You can
Reddit.
see it on the video, just explain it in words.
Alright, so this is Reddit, the front page of Reddit. It's so it's basically this little red figure app thing. Oh,
We can bring
just
it up
go
on the laptop.
online.
Yeah.
Exit. Oh, okay.
Especially people of my age will need some help.
I
I know Elena and Neil are on Reddit a lot.
Reddit is my life.
I think millennials do Reddit quite more than us, I guess. And even techies, I think you
Is
have
it just
tech.
a website? It's
No, it's interactive. You can ask. You
Yeah,
can ask a
it's
lot.
like a forum-based website, and like subreddits are basically
topics.
exactly. They're kind of like
Is it like Quora? That's what it is.
yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, except so in Reddit you have different groups, and they're called subreddits. So he mentioned like
Okay, there's no
Lose It
internet.
or something, and I think Lose It is a subreddit with resources on how to like lose weight. But I know one
There has
thing
to be
I
internet.
utilized Reddit for is I started running this summer because that's always been a
C
struggle
to
for me.
25K.
Yeah, C to 5K.
Yeah.
That stands for Couch to
Comes to
5K.
5K, yeah.
And that's like the forum for that app thing, that program. So yeah, that's a resource Reddit.
It's not coming up.
Yeah, so my favorite subreddits were when in the past, for at the beginning it was 1200 is plenty because I wanted to find like that, because back then I had an appetite. I would never get full for some reason. I don't know why, but it just didn't happen. So I would try to eat as much as I would make big, like, many different dishes and try to make them as low calorie as possible so I could eat enough. And so that's what I utilized 1200 is plenty, and then Lose It just to like the repost and stuff. But then starting April, May, around then, I focused more on our Gain It, which was telling, like, it was because around April, May, June-ish, my appetite started to go down a lot. Again, I don't know why. So then I used those to eat enough to gain weight, and then I used our fitness because like most of weightlifting is like 95% form, 5% weight. So I use fitness. It has all the form, everything. I learned everything from videos online. I didn't have a trainer or anything. I just looked online, made sure.
I just had a quick point because I think this issue sometimes is not brought up. So I'm Meena, Manisha's mom, also physician. In this age group, when kids start playing with their weight, you worry a lot about eating disorders. You worry a lot about going to the extreme. So I was very, and as you can see, Anish is a very sort of self-motivated person. It's very hard for him to listen to what we say. Many of our kids have, some kids are a little more amenable than others, but in his case, it was very clear that whatever we said, he was not exactly going to do it unless he was convinced. So I had to monitor him very closely, especially when he began losing a lot of weight. In fact, I contacted his pediatrician and I said, hey, the pediatrician said he will figure it out. He said, just don't worry. He was not alarmed. I thought he would be alarmed because I was getting alarmed. And he stepped back. He said he will figure it out. I know Anish, he'll figure it out. He is just playing with his body a little bit. The bottom line is, at this age group, what helps these kids is that they are in the growth spurt. Their metabolism is very fast. We cannot apply this to adults. And because, first of all, we cannot train and do the things in the way they do. So what I've asked him also is the body image for him as a boy was a little different. A girl of the same age group may not want muscles. She may just want to be fit. She may want to be strong. She may want to, not have excessive fat. Her body image may be different. So I've asked him to think about how a girl or a person who doesn't want that muscular image should work and what are the tips. So I've asked him to think about it. I don't think
Okay, I can give the answer right now.
No, you can't give the answer.
Weightlifting. Yes. And here's why. It's because, alright, men and women, it's more difficult. Like, for me, it'll probably take me another year to have like the huge look, whereas for women it takes 7-8 years to get the quote unquote bulky look. And I hear a lot of people in school and stuff talking, oh, I wanna get fit, but I don't wanna look bulky.
Absolutely.
But looking bulky, that doesn't happen by accident by doing weights. That takes years of doing it. If you just focus on more strength, like low reps, 3 to 5, you're not gonna get
lighter
bulky.
weights. But
No.
Okay, clearly
You're
we're
putting words in my
disagreeing.
mouth. Lighter weight is not the way to do it. Toning is a myth.
The whole point, I think, for women is that muscle building is important for bone strength as well. especially for adults. I think we all know that as we get older, there's bone loss and osteoporosis, things like that. So it's good to build up your bone strength with some weight training early on in life, and obviously continue throughout life. So it's a very dynamic goal. As you can see, all of us have certain perspectives that work for us, that don't work for us. So I'm sure we'll have other stories that are quite different with different equally successful results, if you can define success by how people want to look. But that's a different issue. But so I'm happy that you've been able to share your story, and keep your mind open, look at other people's challenges and bodies. Everyone's different metabolism.
I had a question for
Thanks,
Anish.
Mom.
Anish, I had a question for you.
Yes.
What triggered this life transformation journey? Because that's very important for me. I mean, I really want to know what made you walk on this journey.
Cute. So, I think it was this day where I'd taken a picture right here, and I took.
I mean, did it happen like in a split second, or you took some time to figure it out?
It was building up a bit. Because I was just a bit upset how most people just like thought of me as like, out of shape and fat. And then also, so there's this time in gym one day, so we're doing push-ups. You always do like 10 push-ups to start. So I tried it, and I would do one terrible form push-up, and I'd fall to the ground and not do any more. And I always laughed it off with my friend. And then one time my friend was laughing, and he was like, "Oh, you're so weak." And so I'm like, okay. So then I started to lose weight because I wanted to yeah. And then also when I took that picture, I just saw like, wow, I have a lot of chubs, so I want to lose a little. And I never. It's not like I hated the way I look. Like I completely hated it. I wanted to look better. So.
I think I'll share a couple of quick points, and then I would like to invite parents. So I think one of the things that Anish pointed out, very important, is how we should not go to the extremes. I think I want to reiterate that because body image is definitely a very relevant issue amongst the youth today. Another thing, very important thing that Anish said was, it's important what your goal is. And coming from where I am, I'm a holistic health practitioner. Coming from where I am, I think health should be the goal, not the body image, not the weight. Ultimately, health should be the goal, well-rounded. And I think he's figuring it out on his own, where he realized very quickly that he was not headed in the right direction. He was going into another extreme. Right. And I think some of the really interesting points Anish made were that his pediatrician knew what kind of person he was, and he knew he's going to be able to figure out. And that is not always the case. So I think one of the important points that I want to make is no one size fits all. So I think the point of sharing stories and presentations is really you witness the story and take away that it is possible, and you make it your own story. You make it your own journey. I think that's very important, because if you make it your own journey, the chances are that you will succeed. The chances that you will succeed are very high. So the idea of the presentation is not really pick up everything that Anish did, but literally, think about what works for you. Maybe you enjoy walking more than weightlifting. So I think even though Anish is sharing his resources and his choices, they need not be yours. Then that's a very important point to make. So yeah, I think moms, if you want to come, kids, if you want to come, but please come and share. What is it that has, what's your takeaway, or what's some comments from you? If you have anything to share. I mean, no pressure. No pressure. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Anisha.